Five. Five. We're catching the replay, hashtag replay. I would love to know who's here. And also, I would love to be able to interact with everybody here so I can answer any questions you have. If you're not familiar with me, or if this is your first time catching one of my videos, my name is Stacy Volsi, and I am a nonprofit coach and consultant, and I help small to mid-sized nonprofit organizations grow their impact and also grow their revenue generation potential in 6 months through capacity building and strategic planning. So if that's something that you are not familiar with, stick with me as I would love to ensure that you are hitting all the right spots in your nonprofit and able to grow in 2025. Now, again, drop hashtag live if you are catching me live, hashtag replay if you are catching the replay. And yeah, let's get it going. Today it is Monday morning, top of the morning. Good morning to you, wherever you're watching from, and thank you so much for catching me. And the topic I want to talk about today is the one thing that will keep your nonprofit running around in circles. Because as human beings, we are running in circles all the time, like doing things that don't serve us. And in your nonprofit organization or the nonprofit organization that you're leading, there is the potential for you of doing the same thing where you feel like you're doing everything, you feel like you're doing great work, but it's not moving forward. So I want you to step away from the woe is me attitude and realize it's not just that. There are other ways to approach it, and not everybody understands that, because one thing I'm realizing, and I realized it this weekend, right? I'll tell you a short story. So I went to get my hair done, right? And there was this other woman that was getting her hair done, and she was arguing about everything. But one argument that she had made me realize not everybody thinks the way I do, or not everybody has that understanding, and I want to bring it to the forefront today. So she was arguing the fact that they have a deposit system for the hair appointment. Mind that it is a weave, like if you're familiar with extensions and weave and stuff like that, and the costs and stuff. So the way they function, they require a small deposit at the beginning. Now, it makes sense because as a business owner, I understand that when individuals pay money for something, they're more likely to show up, right? Because then who wants to be a hairdresser or stylist and you have your appointment booked out, right? And let's say it's 5 slots per day, four of them don't show up. So that's four potential clients you could have had that the slots were closed, but people are not taking it. So the point of the story is that the person that was there, the woman that was in the salon with me, she didn't understand the concept of the deposit. So that made me realize not every nonprofit executive or leader will understand the concept of running a business, because a nonprofit organization is a business. So the one thing I want to about today is the fact that certain things that you do in your nonprofit organization or do not do in your nonprofit organization are going to lead you to feeling like everything you're doing is not working. But like I said, if you're here, hashtag live, let me know. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. Because then we're definitely going to talk about that. A lot of people don't like hearing that what they're doing is not working because they're so stuck in their ways, but I want you to challenge that today. Today's a new month. It's already the second month of 2025. And if something is not changing, you're going to stay the same. And if you want to stay the same, that's on you. But the goal is to get your nonprofit to the next level and for it to grow its impact and its revenue generation potential, especially right now, because I know the masterclass that's happening on Wednesday. If you didn't sign up for it yet, you definitely should go on my link, my Stancer, and register. It's a free masterclass called Solve Your Nonprofits Funding Problem. So that masterclass is happening on Wednesday. I definitely need you to sign up for it. The reason for that is because last week everybody realized how grants can be fickle, right? Because then in one snap of a finger, somebody said, okay, freeze the grants. And then somebody else said, oh no, we're not going to freeze it. But just the feeling that came up when that happened made you realize how vulnerable your programs and services can be because you're depending on one source of funding. And that is not something that I want any of you to experience because listen, if that one source of funding had to be threatened, you need another source of revenue to be able to back that up. So, and that's definitely what we're going to be talking about and kind of address like why some nonprofit leaders are going around in circles and feeling stuck. Like it's really not what you think it is. It's not because you don't have donors. It's not because this, it's not because that. It's really you, the leaders of the organization. Like if you're feeling stuck and you have all these uncertainties about grants, shifting policies and changing donor priorities, like you're not alone, but understand that you have control over the future of your organization if you are taking active, if you're making active decisions and not being passive about how things happen to your organization. Okay, I want to help you make a mindset shift today. Okay, so we're gonna jump into different strategies and tactics that you're going to need over the next few years, over time, as you are leading a nonprofit organization to kind of retrain, because you need to retrain your brain to start operating from a place of confidence and control. Because what happened last week, it shows you how much lack of control a lot of leaders have. Because if one person's decision can affect your organization in the snap of a finger, there is a lack of control there. And that's where I want to get your nonprofit out of and start tapping into other sources of funding where you feel some sense of security when things are destabilized like that. It's not about quick fixes or anything, right? It's about being able to take charge as a leader in a nonprofit organization in the nonprofit industry, being able to make quick and strategic decisions that will help your nonprofit organization bring money a little bit faster. And that's not dependent on just a grant application. Now, this is what we call in the business world quick cash flow, okay, or a cash injection. Now, it's important for nonprofits as well because we're just going to get one thing straight right now. In a nonprofit organization, like a lot of people like may be obsessed with grants, great, right? But they take too long. Most grants are going to take 3 to 12 months from application to approval, especially if they're significant grants that are going to fund programs and services that you have to offer. And honestly, even if you're awarded the funding, you can't actually access the money right away. It's going to take a while for urgent expenses to be resolved, right? So that's why I want you to start thinking about how you can diversify your revenue, but until you make that shift up here, like it's going to be hard for you to adopt the changes that you need and start diversifying your revenue stream, because when one door closes, another one typically opens. But in this case, if you have diverse streams of revenue, what happens is that you have enough sources that will keep you afloat even when policies are changing or there's uncertainty around a grant. And that's where I want your organization to be. So having a quick cash injection or a quick cash flow, what it means is that you can cover expenses without stress and continue serving your mission. Because like I said, you're in the business of making an impact, but as a leader, you're also responsible for making sure that you have the funds and revenue to support the work you're doing to serve your mission, right? And having a quick cash flow also mean that you're not reliant on one funding source. Now, not relying on the one funding source that could disappear overnight, like really disappear overnight. And then you're able to create some type of financial stability and to help make your nonprofit more attractive to funders and donors. Because then a lot of people don't understand that. But when your nonprofit organization actually stands on business and tells people, listen, that money would be great, but this is how we're bringing more money to support what we're doing because we're serious about the work that we do. They see that you're serious about the impact that you're trying to make, and they're more likely to want to support you because their money's not at risk because you already know what you're doing. So financial stability is a good thing. So having those diverse revenue streams and the fast cash flow for that is really important. And the other thing, I want you to start taking lessons as the nonprofit executive from business owners that you meet on social media. Like, what are they doing to market, right? Because then you could do similar things. You could have your interns like talk about your nonprofit, share posts, share stories, because social media is free, right? So all of these things are things I want you to think about and realize that the business owners, the entrepreneurs that you're following, they are doing something that your nonprofit could be doing as well to bring revenue in your nonprofit. So you need to take heed and really pay attention to what's happening, how they're marketing their services, their products, and stuff like that. Because as a nonprofit organization, let's say that you are selling a digital product to bring in extra revenue. How is it being marketed? How do people know about it? Who is the audience? Like, all these things are things I want you to think about because if you focus on bringing the cash flow and having that stability, it really serves your organization to the highest level. So now the other thing, what mindset like that I hear a lot. I hear a lot of people tell me, oh, we don't have a big donor network or we don't have anybody to donate. Nobody's ever donated, right? So these may sound familiar, or other things may be like we don't have time for more fundraising. We're not good at asking for money. Nobody likes to ask for money, right? But it is part of your job, and we're gonna go about why these thoughts maybe stopping you in your track or from doing exactly what you need to be doing in your nonprofit organization. Now, I'm going to challenge you a bit on all these statements, and I want you to kind of like really tap into those and see that it's only a mindset shift that needs to happen, and the change needs to also be in how you speak to yourself and the things that you say. So instead of saying you do not have the network, like start thinking you do have a network, you're just not tapping into it. Because think of how, like, your age. You're a big old adult at this point. You're an adult. You do have a network. You're just not tapping into it. You're not thinking about it in the way you need to think about it. So if you are a nonprofit organization and the first thing, like you're leading a nonprofit organization and the first thing that comes to your mind, oh, I don't have a network. Look at your age. Like, you did not get this far to not know anybody. If you don't, then why are you on social media? Like, you do have a network, you're just not tapping into it. And you, like, the other thing, oh, I don't have the time for more fundraising. You do have time, because fundraising is a core part of running a nonprofit. Instead of focusing on, oh my God, should my website have this? Should I change the font? Should I have a logo? Should I do this? Should I focus on the things that matter? The logo is not going to bring in revenue to your nonprofit. The website, like, yes, you need to have a simple website up and the back end up, but the aesthetics of it is not important right now. Later down the road, it will happen, because what's going to happen is no revenue is coming in. That organization is not going to exist. You're going to be running yourself around in circles, because if you say you're doing it because you want to do good for the community, volunteer. You shouldn't be running an organization. You should volunteer at this point. Because then if your organization is doing nothing for you but making you volunteer, you should just close the organization, dissolve it, and volunteer. Because that might be the best way for you to go about it, because you're basically like pinging yourself in the foot, telling yourself that you're running an organization, doing all the things and not really running an organization. So you do have the time. You're just focusing on the wrong things, and fundraising needs to be a core part of your nonprofit organization. And also, I want you to stop telling yourself that you're begging for money. You're inviting people into an opportunity to be part of something bigger. Now, that's the other thing that I want you to start telling yourself, like, stop telling yourself that you're begging. You're not begging anybody, right? You're inviting them into an opportunity. Now, it is an opportunity, because whatever you tell yourself is what you're going to believe. So you are inviting them into an opportunity to be part of something bigger, to do the work that you're doing as well, because then you have to start believing it in here for it to manifest in the real world, okay? So today I want you to commit to this new way of thinking. Instead of saying, oh, I don't have enough donors, we're going to re-engage the donors we already have. we're going to tap into the network that we have and have not spoken to yet. Because look at your friends list. How many of them have you spoken to? How many of them do you reach out to? Because I kid you not, every time I add someone, I introduce myself. I introduce what I do. If they want to say hi back, they say hi back. But I believe in being a human being, and if I forget to say hi to somebody, it's not on purpose because I make it a thing every time somebody adds me back or I add someone to say hello. Hello, what I do, and if you want to reach out, this is what I do, let me know. Okay? So don't tell people you don't have time for fundraising. Yes, you do. You prioritize what you want to prioritize. You prioritize watching The Witcher or Bridgerton on Netflix. Listen, you can prioritize revenue generating activities. So instead of saying we don't have time for fundraising, you can say we will prioritize revenue generating activities because you need to start thinking about what activities in your nonprofit organization beyond making the impact will help you generate revenue. Because then your role as a leader is to govern, right? And to govern means to ensure that the organization has the resources that it needs to continue building building itself, right? Or growing. But if you're not doing that, what are you doing? Okay. So I want you to start just thinking a little bit about the way you're speaking to yourself and speaking about the organization and what you can and cannot do, reframe those and really start thinking about funding in a different way. Now, I want you to make sure you sign up for the free masterclass, Solve Your Nonprofit Funding Problem, which is happening on Wednesday. I'm going to put the link in the comments. And for those who know, it's hard for me to type and talk at the same time, but I put it in the comments. Register for the free masterclass, which is happening on Wednesday, February 5th at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, where we talk about different ways to generate your revenue stream so you can start solving your nonprofit's funding problem. Because wherever there's a problem, there's a solution, but we cannot stay in a state where we're talking about the problems. We have to start evaluating what the solutions are and go from there. So I welcome you to register for this free masterclass so we can start figuring this out for your nonprofit organization and get out of this cycle of just repeating the same thing over and over, like running around in circles where at the end of the year, you're like, oh, we didn't make enough money this year. Oh, okay. Did you plan for it? Okay. So I want you to get out of this stage, start planning for it, and we're going to move forward. I will see you there on Wednesday. And if again, you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. If you're catching live, hashtag live. Because for some reason, Facebook does not put this on everybody's feed unless it sees comments going in it. So please make sure to comment and let me know you caught the live and let me know what was good for you and what you learned. I would love to know. And thank you so much for catching me. And I hope you have an amazing Monday. Bye, y'all.